Okay guys, so our next breakfast item that we're going to make in our Breakfast on a Budget series is we are going to make some homemade yogurt with some homemade granola. And I like to not sweeten my yogurt when I make it, because that way when I go to eat it, depending on what kind of mood I'm in, I can sweeten it with honey and fresh fruit, or with some kind of sweetener. I can put some vanilla bean paste and honey in it. So, and that way it gives me like that flexibility to use it how I want. I could use it in recipes, soups, things like that. So I will not be sweetening this, but our yogurt only takes 2 ingredients. So let's get started making our yogurt. And we're gonna do this in the Instant Pot. I'm going to move you guys a little bit closer here. So I have my Instant Pot here, and I've already gone ahead and sanitized the liner for the Instant Pot. And to sanitize it, all you need to do is give it a good wash. And then what I do is I put a cup of water in it, and I turn it onto the steam function for 1 minute. And then when that's done, I empty the water out and it's ready to go. So my Instant Pot has a yogurt setting. You can do this in a crock pot. You can do this, I've seen people do this like in just a pan and then they wrap it. In this case, we're going to do this in our Instant Pot. If you want to know how to do it in the crock pot or in a regular pot, go ahead and leave me a comment down below, and then I'll work on a video for that. But for right now, we're going to do it in the Instant Pot. So I have half a gallon of milk, because I don't want to make a lot of yogurt because it's just me. So I'm going to pour a half a gallon, and you can use either 2% or whole milk. I'm actually using whole milk. So I'm going to pour my milk in here. And this is actually a good way to use milk if it's getting close to its sell-by date. So this one is not until November 3rd, so we're good on that. So I pour my milk in here, and I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to press the yogurt button. And I'm going to move it to the boil function, which should come up here sometime here. Hold on. Cancel. Yogurt. There, boil. So I'm going to turn it to the boil function, and then I'm going to hit start. What this is going to do is this is going to bring my yogurt up to about 180 degrees. Once it gets to that state, I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to take the liner out to let it cool off, because we can't put our starter in it. And for our starter, I'm just using Chobani non-fat plain Greek yogurt. This has 6 live cultures. You want to make sure whatever starter you're using has the live cultures in it. And because I'm using a half a gallon, I'm only going to use half a cup of the starter yogurt. And then once you make your yogurt, you can actually, if you don't sweeten your yogurt, you can actually use that as your starter for your next batch of yogurt when you go to make it. So as soon as this is done and it's come up, and we're going to move it out, once it's cooled off and I'm going to add the other yogurt to it, I'll bring you guys back to see how we're going to do that. Okay, so our Instant Pot went off from the boil, and I'm going to check the temperature here. So we want to cool this off down to between 105 and 115. And currently it is at 164. All right, so I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to put it in my sink in cold water until it let me show you. Okay, in the sink in cold water until it cools down to between 105 and 115, and then we'll be back, and we're going to put it back in our Instant Pot, and I'm going to do it for 8 hours. Whoop, let me move you up here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it for 8 hours. The longer you do it, the tangier your yogurt is. So I just want a real mild yogurt, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in my Instant Pot for 8 hours once it cools off. So once it cools off, I can go ahead and add my starter, which we're going to call incubating. And that's where you add the starter with the live cultures in it, and then mix that in, and then we'll put it back in our Instapot and set it for 8 hours. So I'll be back. Okay, so our yogurt has cooled off. I'll put that in there. Get rid of my water here. All right, and then I'm going to pour in my starter yogurt. And again, this is just plain Greek yogurt. And I'm going to whisk that in. I'm going to get a spatula to scrape out this so I get everything. Okay. All right. Okay, so once I have all that mixed in, I'm going to put my lid back on my Instapot. I'm going to hit the yogurt button. For 8 hours and hit start. Okay, and then when that is ready, we will come back and I will show you. You can strain it so that you have a thicker Greek yogurt. You could put it through a strainer or through a cheesecloth, or you could just have a creamy yogurt. So I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do, if I'm going to make a Greek yogurt or a creamy yogurt. So I will be back. It is 2:15, which means my 8 hours is at 10:15 tonight. Yuck. I started it late. Okay, so I will be back. Actually, I think, let me read my directions. Hang on one second. Okay, I'm back. So once our incubation period is over, once the 8 hours is over, we're going to take it out of the Instapot. We're going to put it in our refrigerator and let it cool, let it chill overnight before we decide if we're going to strain it or not. So I may or may not bring you guys back at 10:15 tonight because I'll be in my jammies and nobody needs to see that. So I may bring you guys back tomorrow morning after it has chilled in our refrigerator overnight. So, all right. If you guys want to see me in my jammies, go ahead and let me know. And next time I make it, we'll do it in my jammies. All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Okay. Our 8 hours is up. I'm not going to show you my pajamas, but let's see how this looks. Here is our yogurt after 8 hours. It is creamy. All right, so we're going to chill this. Oops, sorry for the banging. We're going to chill this overnight in the refrigerator, and we'll be back tomorrow to decide if we're going to strain it or what we're going to do with it. Okay, guys, it is the next morning. We have let our yogurt sit in the refrigerator and chill overnight. Look at how gorgeous and creamy that is. Okay, so I'm going to stir it up here a little bit, and I'm going to put it into containers to put in my refrigerator. Now, I am not going to sweeten this up right now. I'm going to wait until I'm ready to use it and then sweeten each serving individually with honey or fruit or whatever, because I want to be able to save some of this to start my next batch. So I'm just going to pour it into these containers. I'm thinking 2 will be enough because I only had a half gallon of milk. Maybe. Ooh, I might need more. And then we are going to work on our granola so we can make our little fruit and yogurt parfaits. And actually I'm going to get another little container and put that in there. So hold on one second, let me get another small container. Okay, so and that way, if we don't sweeten it right away, it's more versatile. But the nice thing is we know what is in our yogurt. So we have control over our food once again. Okay, let me get this out of the way. All right, so we have this, and actually, maybe I'll use this as my starter for the next batch. That's probably what I can do. I probably have enough there to do it. Put that, and then cover these up. And now we're going to start working on our granola. So give me just a minute to clean this up, and then we'll be back to do that. Okay, my friends, let's make granola. So first thing we're going to do is move some of this stuff out of the way. We need 3 cups of rolled oats. And I get my oats from Azure Standard. So there's 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to combine these two because I don't need 2 jars of oats here. Okay. Alright, so we have our 3 cups of oats. Then we have 1 cup of nuts. And I'm going to use a combination of pecans and sliced almonds. So, get that opened. So I'm going to use half a cup of each. Yep. You can use any kind of nuts you want, almonds, peanuts, whatever your heart desires. And actually, I think these pecans, do you guys say pecans or pecans? I am going to chop these up just a little bit. So let me grab a cutting board for that. Hope you guys can see all this. Can you see all this? I'm going to move you down a little bit. Okay. So half cup. Okay. I'm going to grab a knife. Because we don't want huge chunks in our granola. But this is going to add a nice flavor. Blue over there. So the mixture of nuts is just going to add a lovely flavor for us. And the nice thing about homemade granola is it is customizable. So whatever you want to put in it, you can put in it. If you want dry roasted peanuts, put them in. If you want honey roasted peanuts, put them in. Macadamia nuts, you do you, boo. All right, and this is also going to add some nice texture too. Okay, so let's put those in. All right, then the next thing we're going to do, let me grab my recipe, is half a cup of sweetener. Now, you can use maple syrup, you can use honey, You can use whatever you want. So I am going to use honey, and I'm going to spray this a little bit because I don't want my honey to stick in there. All right, so 1/2 cup. I've never really been a big maple fan, so that's why I prefer the honey. Oh, my phone keeps shutting the screen off. Okay. And then we're going to do 1/3 cup of fat melted. So you can do butter. I am going to do coconut oil. And that's melted. And I'm going to do a binder. So for the binder, you can either use 1/4 cup of nut butter, or you can use a slightly beaten egg white, which is what I'm going to do, because the egg white's going to help it clump more, and I actually want my granola to kind of clump a little bit. And that way I can, you know, if I want just a little piece of it for a snack or whatever, then I can have a clump of it, or I can, you know, maybe mix it up to, or crush it up a little bit to make it a little bit looser. Okay, and then we're gonna do a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. Ooh! Or more if you desire, or accidentally do it. And a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which where's my 1/2 teaspoon measuring cup? Did I put it in here? I did. No, I didn't think I did. Oh, no, here it is. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay. And we're going to mix all this up. We want everything coated and shiny. And my oven is, because I want crisper granola, my oven is preheating to 325 degrees. If you want chewier granola, you're going to preheat your oven to 300 degrees. And then once this comes out of the oven after you cook it, you can add dried fruit if you want, or if you want some chocolate, like mini chocolate chips, anything like that. That's when you would add it, is after this cooks. But because I want clusters, I'm going to press this firmly into my pan, and I'm not going to stir it while it's cooking. If you want a looser granola, then you would stir it every like 5 minutes or so, or stir it partway through cooking. Okay, so we have that all mixed up and nice and shiny. Let me grab my pan. All right, so I have my pan, and it is lined with parchment paper, and I'm going to pour my granola into it. Now, you can use this as a cereal with just, like, you know, if you just want some granola and milk, you can use that as like a cold cereal in the morning, or you can put it on yogurt. The possibilities are endless, and that's what I love about being an ingredient household, is that I have so many options on what to make and what to use. So we're going to press this so that it's all even, so that it cooks at the same time. And then This was also a lot cheaper to make than the granola that you buy in the store. And again, you know what your ingredients are, which is always a big plus for me anyway. Oh, things are falling. Okay. All right, so let me put this. Sticking to me here. Okay. All right, so we have this ready to go into the oven, and let me tell you how we're going to cook this. Let's see. We are going to cook it 325 for 35 to 40 minutes. And again, we want it pressed firmly. So let me just get my hands a little bit wet here. And I'm just going to press down a lot here because I want this pressed firmly into the pan so that I can get clusters of granola. Okay. Okay, wash my hands here. Rinse those off. Okay, so again, we are going to cook this for, whoop, my phone went blank again, 35 to 40 minutes at 325. We are not going to stir it, but we are going to rotate this halfway through, and then we're going to let this cool in the pan because it will harden up, it will crisp up once it cools. Okay, so we'll be back. Okay, I know I've made these for you guys before, but I'm going to go ahead and, since I have most of my ingredients already out, I'm going to go ahead and make some chewy granola bars. Okay, so for my chewy granola bars, I'm going to need 2 cups of rolled oats. This is like a little bonus you guys are getting. 1. And let me open this one up. And I will refill my container in just a minute. There's 2. Okay, let me close this up for now. And then I need a cup of Rice Krispies. And if you guys want to see how I make homemade Rice Krispies, go ahead and leave me a comment down below and I will show you guys how I do that. Because it is super easy and you don't have all of the extra ingredients. Let's see what's in here. Rice, sugar, salt, malt flavor, iron, niacinamide, vitamin B6, vitamin B2, vitamin B1, folic acid, vitamin D3, vitamin B12. So lots of vitamins, but lots of sugar too. Okay, so we have that. And then to that, we are going to add half a cup of honey or maple syrup. And again, I'm doing honey. This is raw, unfiltered honey that I get from Azure Standard. It is delicious. And it is the berry wildflower honey. All right, so that's going to go in. All right, and I'm going to do half a cup of peanut butter or nut butter if you can't eat peanuts. And this is actually peanut butter that I made. It's actually honey roasted peanut butter that I made. I'm going to get a spoon. Hang on. Let me grab a spoon for this. Okay. And again, if you guys want to see how I make my peanut butter, go ahead and leave me a comment down below. Okay. My hands are clean. Okay. So we're going to put our peanut butter in. There we go. And we need a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I think I'm going to use the vanilla bean paste again. And it's 1 teaspoon of either vanilla extract or vanilla bean paste. And what I like about this is look at all the little, you can see all of the little vanilla beans in there. Lovely. And, oops, I was supposed to warm the honey and peanut butter. Oh well, didn't do it. A 1/4 cup of mini chocolate chips. Where's my chocolate chips? I got them out. Okay. Now, the chocolate chips you can either press on top or you can just mix them right in. I'm just going to mix them right in. Okay, so this is going to be a little difficult to mix probably because I did not warm up the honey and the peanut butter. Because I got ahead of myself, but that's okay. It's just going to take a little bit of time. It's fine. Everything's fine. And by not heating it up, I'm not melting my chocolate chips either. So there's that. And these are just as good as, you know, those chewy granola bars. I think it's the Chewy brand of granola bars in the store. This is a lovely copycat recipe. And if you put dried fruit in instead of the chocolate chips, this is also a breakfast on a budget item. You can just grab this. These are nice. You can wrap them up in parchment paper and individually store them. Okay. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do just to heat this up a little bit, I'm going to go put it over by the stove because my granola is baking in the stove and maybe that'll soften this up a little bit just to make sure everything's mixed really well. So I will be back. Okay, so we have it well incorporated and we are going to put this into a square pan. At least that's what I use. You can use any kind of pan you want. Lined with parchment paper. You want to get every little bit out. Okay, we got the majority of it out. Put that aside. All right, I'm going to wet my hands so that it doesn't stick, and I'm going to press this into the pan. This is going to be just like we pressed in the granola, except these do not need to be baked. They are no bake. And we want to make sure everything is even. You can, if you want, put a few more chocolate chips on top. I'm not going to be doing that because I mixed in my chocolate chips. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Hang on. Why not? You only live once, right? YOLO. Okay. Now, my secret weapon. I just take a little roller and roll it all down. And if you guys are interested in a roller like this, I will go ahead and put a link in the description box below. So, there's our granola bars. We're going to go ahead and put these in the refrigerator. I'm going to cover them up with another piece of parchment paper. We're going to put them in the refrigerator and let them chill and set up. Okay, our last breakfast on a budget. Ready? We're going to make instant oatmeal packets. I'm only going to make a couple of them today, but when you go to the store and you buy instant oatmeal packets, you're paying a premium for them. So we are not. We're going to use half a cup of rolled oats in each packet. You can also store these in mason jars if that's more convenient for you. And the nice thing about storing them in mason jars is you could just pour your hot water into the mason jar when you're ready to make them and eat it right out of the mason jar. Okay, so we have 4 there. Let me get my lid here and close up my oats. Let me move my phone too. Okay, then to that we're going to add to 2 of them. We're going to do brown sugar and cinnamon. And so to 2 of them, we're going to add a tablespoon of brown sugar. And a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And if you like more cinnamon, you can add more. This is just what I'm adding. Okay. And okay. Now, here's one more thing I'm doing here. Let me grab another. I'm going to do a strawberry and cream one also, but let me grab more measuring spoons. Okay, I'm also going to add a little bit of milk powder to these, just because when I make it, that'll make it nice and creamy. That is optional, you don't have to do that. Okay, so we have our brown sugar and cinnamon all done. Put those to the side. Now, our strawberries and cream. We're going to add the whole milk powder. You can use non-fat milk powder if that's what you have. I'm using the whole milk powder. And to that, we are going to add some freeze-dried strawberries. Now, this depends on how strawberry you like it. You can crush them up, which I may crush them up just a little because they are kind of big. Just break them up a little bit. And this is all to your taste. You could do freeze-dried blueberries. You could do dried fruit if that's what you want. If you're doing dried fruit, let me wash my hands here so I can get the strawberry powder off them. Okay. If you want to do dried fruit, you can add dried fruit, you can add nuts, whatever you want. Ooh, you know what would be good in there is some almonds, but we'll do that when we make them. Now, to make them, all we're going to do to these is add 3/4 of a cup of hot water. And then, voila, we have instant oatmeal. Cook it the regular, you know, make it the regular way you would. So, there you have it. I want to try one of these strawberries. Oh, so good. Woo! Very tart. Okay. So let me get this cleaned up. We still have to get our granola out of the oven for our, to go with our yogurt. So we'll be back. Okay, so here is our granola. Nice. Good. know what? Let me show you guys how delicious this looks. We'll put some yogurt in our bowl. And I actually think I might want to maybe strain one of these to make them a Greek yogurt. But anyway, we're going to put a little teeny bit of honey in there to sweeten it. And there you go. Look. Beautiful. Delicious. Alright guys, there you have it. Breakfast on a budget. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just takes a little bit of extra planning. We made our instant oatmeal packets, our maple and our brown sugar and cinnamon, and our strawberry and cream instant oatmeal packets. We have our delicious homemade yogurt with homemade granola, and we even had our bonus chewy granola bars. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up icon to let the algorithm know that you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to hit that bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a new video, and I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!